Hello everyone, and welcome to another green marble crochet tutorial. For this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to make this very simple halter neck top, which is based off this very simple shoulderless top-down sweater. I'll be making a tutorial for the top-down sweater, shoulderless top-down sweater, later on in the autumn when things get cooler. For now we'll just start with the halter neck. Okay, so for this design I'm going to be using this yarn, which is 75% acrylic and 25% virgin wool. I'm going to be using this 5mm hook, scissors, darning needle. So yeah, it's a really simple design. There's not much that I can say about it, I can just show you. Okay, so yes, thank you for joining me and let's get straight to it. To begin, make a slip knot. And adjust the knot to the hook. Now, chain 11. So 1, 2, 10 and 11. Now, skipping the first chain from the hook, which is that one just there, we're going to be putting a single crochet into each chain all the way back to the beginning chain. So 1, 2, 9, and that last chain there, 10. And we're back at the beginning, and there's your first row. Okay, next step is chain 1 and turn to the other side of the work. Now what we'll be doing is for each row we'll be putting our single crochet. The first stitch and the last stitch will be through the entire stitch, and the rest of the stitches will be into the back part of the top part of the V of the stitch. So by that I mean into the first stitch, don't go in through the back part just there, go in through the entire stitch. So if you look to the side, just there, that is the entire stitch. So you put your hook through all of the stitch just like that. Then for the next 8 stitches we're going to be going in, see there's the V on top, you go into the back part of that V just there. So that's 2, and then 3, and then into the 9th stitch. I'm going to be doing that into the back part as well. But then for the 10th stitch, the last stitch, we go into the whole stitch. So through the side, just there, through both parts of that V, beneath both parts, just like that. And then we're going to be doing that for every row for 70 rows. So chain up 1, single crochet through all of the first stitch, single crochet through the back part of the V for the next 8 stitches, and then on the last stitch, the 10th stitch, single crochet through the entire stitch. So do that for 70 rows, and then we'll meet up again and I'll show you where to go from there. Okay, now that I've finished my 72 rows, and just quickly, if you lose count as you're crocheting, as you're going along, you can count the rows by counting the ridges. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and just so on like that, and then you'll be able to see where you're up to. Okay, so to join both ends, we're going to join it to make the collar. We fold it in half, turn it like that, make sure the yarn is to that side just there. And we're not going to chain up 1, we're just going to go in through the first stitch. So in through the first stitch on the side, just there, and then find the bottom of the row just there, so just like that. Pull that through both and secure like that, and then just go through each stitch along. So that was 1, this is 2, and then the next bottom of the next stitch along, so that one just there, 2 and 3, 3, 4, 9, there we go, perfect, and 10, oh, 10, so just through that last stitch there, and through where the very first chain was, 10, perfect, there we go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cut the yarn, so I'm just going to use scissors. So we're going to cut the yarn just here. We're going to bind this one off for the moment, well, not bind off, but secure it for the moment, because what we want to do now is, so here's the wrong side, I'm going to turn it right side, but what we want to do is we want to mark out 20 stitches on the front and the back, and the best way to do that is for the back anyway, and also so that you can mark it out for the front so that it will be even, so that you're not getting confused about where to put the markers. So you see where you've joined it, you can count the rows as where you're going to put your stitches. So we've got 1, 2, that ridge is 2, and that is the first one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then do on the other side the same, so this ridge will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So that's the way you mark that out. And because there's 70 rows, what you do on either side of that is you count 15, and then the one after that will be the first of the 20 for the front. So I'll just go away and I'll put the markers in and I'll come back and show you. Okay, I've attached my markers, so as you can see, 20 at the front and 20 at the back. Before we start the body of the work, I'm just going to point out quickly that the end of the row just here is perfect for putting a stitch. So you can see there's the hole just there, and then above that there'll be another one, and then another one as you go along, so it'll be really easy to see where you need to put the stitch. Okay, so now we're going to begin and we're going to start work on the front. Alright, so take the end of the yarn, make a slip knot. Now find where you want to start. So I want to start just here. So this is for the front of the work. Now, like I said, it's really easy to find that stitch that you've marked or that place that you've marked out. So just put that through there, the hook, put the hook through there, pull the slip knot through and adjust it to the hook. Alright, so we're going to be starting our increase straight away. So what we do first is we chain up one after we've adjusted our slip knot. We chain up one, focus the camera, and then we put a double crochet. I know that sounds weird, but we're going to be putting a double crochet into that same space where we put the chain or the slip knot, double crochet, and then into the next stitch along we're going to put 2 double crochets, or not the next stitch but the end of the next row where we're going to be putting our stitches. 2 double crochets and another one into that space, and then just put one single double crochet into each stitch along till you get to the space just before the next marker, and then you'll be putting another 2 double crochets into that space. So by the end of this row you should end up with 22 stitches. So as you can see, it's really easy to find that place where you need to put your stitch into the side of the row. Like, it's very, very well marked out, especially with this rib design. Just makes it really easy to see, just like that. Okay, so I'll meet back up with you when you need to do that 2 double crochet. Okay, I've reached that second last space where I'm going to be putting 2 double crochets into the same space. So 1 and 2 into that space, and then the final space for the front, or for this row of the front, the first row, putting a double crochet into there. You can take your stitch markers out now, don't need them, not for the front anymore. Just take those out, and then you've completed your first row, and you should have 22 stitches, and we're going to be increasing each row the same, exactly the same for each row. And that won't come out. That's really annoying. Oh, don't tell me I've 1 second. Alrighty, so there we go, our first row of the front. Now, to start on the next row, we chain 1, and the reason we're only chaining 1 for each row, for the beginning of each row, instead of chaining 2 and then doing the double crochet straight into the first stitch, it's just because it looks neater. It just looks neater, and it's more efficient. Anyway, so we've chained up 1, and then we put 1 double crochet into the first stitch, like that. Double crochet, and then into the next stitch along, 2 double crochets into the same stitch, and 2, and then 1 double crochet into each stitch along till you get to the second last stitch, where you put 2 double crochets and then the final double crochet into the last stitch. And for this row you should end up with 24 stitches. Alright, here I am at the second last stitch of this row, so putting 2 double crochets into that stitch, 1 and 2, and then a double crochet into the final stitch. Now what I suggest for the increased rows of this garment is just count at the end of each row, or count as you go along, either way, just so that you always make sure to get that last stitch into the end, so that you don't, mess up the stitch count. Just because sometimes it can be difficult to determine exactly where to put that last stitch, and it's just a good idea. Okay, so continue doing that, and we're going to continue doing that until it reaches comfortably beneath, the midsection just beneath your armpit. So you want it to be able to join the front and the back so that, it's not too tight around the bust area. So yeah, I'll meet back up with you when, and I'll run through how that should look and what you should do to join the back and the front. So we'll be doing the same as we've done for the front, for the back. So you'll attach your slip knot in through, that row just there, through the end of that row, and then work along till you've done 20 stitches, and then just do exactly the same thing for the back as you've done for the front, and we'll meet back up again and I'll show you where to go from there. So I just wanted to quickly mention that your stitch count should increase by 2 stitches each row, so just bear that in mind as you're going along. So as you're counting, make sure that it's increasing 2 stitches per row. Okay. Alright, now that I've finished the front and the back, so it's going to look like that. You've got the front, which mirrors the back, and they're both exactly the same dimensions. So what I'm going to show you is, I may have dropped a couple of stitches, that's okay. I'm going to show you, slip this over your head, So now you want to try measuring to see if each end of the back and the front fit comfortably beneath your arms. So let's get this side. So if you reach behind and grab the back just there and match it up with the front just there, so that should fit very comfortably just there. That's perfect. It's going to look really 70s. It's really nice. Oh, where's the back of this side? So grab that side just there, and it should do the same on either side. It will definitely do the same on either side. So that's going to fit really nicely. I really love that. Okay, and now I'm going to show you how to join up to work the rest of the body. Okay, so to join the back to the front, we're not going to be cutting any yarn or tying anything off. We're just going to be working straight from where we left off and when we finished our last row on the back just there. We're going to chain up one, focus the camera, chain up one, and put a single crochet directly into the first stitch just there on the front. So just into the first stitch, and there should be 48 stitches on the front and 48 stitches on the back, making a total of 96 stitches. Is that 96? Yeah. So there should be 96 stitches. We're not doing any more increases. We're just going to be working in rounds. So 96 stitches, and it's going to be a side seam. So we're just putting a single crochet to join the seams right into the next stitch. And so that's the first stitch on the front. Now count 48 stitches for the front, and I'll meet back up with you when we have to join the other side. Sorry, I forgot to mention also that this first round that we're doing of the joint, where we're joining the back to the front, it's all going to be in single crochet. So this round is entirely in single crochet. Alright, here I am. I've reached the last stitch of the front, so I've done the last stitch of the front. Now I'm going to be binding the first stitch along on the back just there. And I'm just going to put a single crochet straight into that stitch to join. So focus properly, yeah. And then putting a single crochet directly into the first stitch along. So it'll be that stitch just there, hook through. And obviously count 40 single crochet, just like that. Count the 48 stitches along, but that's how many there should be. And once you get to the end, you should have done a total of 96 single crochets, and then you're going to join. You're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain one where you started. I'll meet back up with you, and yeah, it should be pretty straightforward from there. Okay, I've reached the end of the round, and I'm going to slip stitch into the top of that chain one. So that will be that stitch just right there. Slip stitch into that. Through. Might be a little tight, but persevere, you'll make it. So just into there, slip stitching like that. Now we're going to go back to double crochet, and we're going to chain up 2. So no more chaining up 1 to double crochet, because we're not increasing. We don't need it to look any specific way for that reason. It's all going to be chaining up 2, turn work, because I like it to maintain that continuity of the back and forth pattern instead of just going continuously in the rounds, to match the top of the garment. When we're going to be putting, so just into the next stitch along, so that stitch is there. Don't go directly into the stitch just below the chain 2 when you've turned the work. Go into the next stitch along, so that'll be 1 and 2. Yeah, and continue around. Make sure to occasionally count the stitches when you've finished up a round, just to make sure there's, the 96 or however many stitches you've got, just to make sure you don't lose any. So yeah, just continue around in your double crochet till you get to the end of the round, slip stitch into the top of the chain 2, chain up 2, turn work, double crochet around the 96 stitches until you get to the end, slip stitch, and just so on until you've grown the body to the length that you want it to be. So yeah, I'm going to continue with mine. You can go away and continue with yours. And we'll meet back up at the end. We'll try on our sweaters. We'll see, well, they're not really sweaters. We'll try on our halters and see how they look. Hopefully I won't need another ball for this. I don't think I will. Yeah, okay, see you soon. Alrighty, so here is the finished halter neck top. I'm really happy with it. I think this turned out beautiful. I absolutely love this yarn. I did end up having to go and get another ball of the stuff because 100 grams wasn't enough to make the entire thing. So this is 150 grams of this particular yarn. As you can see, I've added a hem to it, which I didn't include in this tutorial, but I'm going to make a tutorial right now, actually, just to show you how to add a hem to a garment. But yeah, I love this yarn. Unfortunately, it's pure wool is involved, so it makes me a little bit hay feverish and itchy of nose while I'm using it. But I absolutely love it. I'm definitely going to be wearing this one out in public. It's so beautiful. Thanks for watching.